right, so everybody, welcome to Real Talk with iDeal and friends. I am totally excited about this edition. Before we begin to talk about this edition, I just want to run you through what Real Talk is all about. The purpose of Real Talk is to create a platform where people can speak freely and honestly about several topics, life, faith, and love, with the aim that everyone learns and is better from the conversation. I am your host, iDeal. I'm a Christian, and I'll guide the conversations and will give perspective on issues we're raised. Where we need context, the gospel will be the context. So thank you for being here. We try to meet on the second and the fourth Saturdays of every month. We've been doing this since May, and it has been an amazing time. I'm glad to everyone that has kept joining in and being a part of what we do. We also have, if you're here, maybe you haven't filled the link. We have a link for you to sign up so that you get emails and information about many of the things that we do. Also, we have a YouTube channel. I will be glad if you go and subscribe and check out our past editions. Also, if you want to be on the show, you want to be a panelist, you want to, share from your experience, I will be glad to. Just let us know, and we'll be happy to have you on the show. So this is Meet the Couples. We've been doing Meet the Singles. Today is Meet the Couples. I believe we'll have fun and we'll have conversations that are helpful, and we have panelists that will guide us through their experiences and share their opinions. So the idea is that, they're going to answer questions, some romantic questions, some get to know better questions, and they will share from their experience. And we hope that, of course, in Real Talk, we want to be real and we want to be honest with our conversations. So this is how it's going to go, right? There are going to be several rounds. So in each round, the partner is going to have the opportunity to pick a question, and both spouses will answer that question. We have three categories of questions. We have romantic question, and we have the Know Your Sweetheart category, and we have the Matters Arising. Right? For the Matters Arising category, the questions will be open for any couple to respond, and it's just going to be free. So for the questions asked or answered, you are free to probe for clarity. Like I've said before, we have live viewing participants, and I would read some of the comments or questions on the chat room as the case may be. I would also say that the views of the panelists or those on the hot seat or the participants, even in the chats, do not represent the view of the host or the show. But we want people to be real. This is a no judgment zone. We want people to be free and be real as much as they are comfortable with. All right. So I hope my panelists were together. So please, you can unmute your mic. Let me just know that you have to accept the unmuting on your side. Imaze and Tosan, Fred and Marina, Pius, and okay. So let me. Good.
Okay, we're clear. We're good.
Yeah, we're okay.
All right. Awesome.
Very good.
All right. So. This is not even the icebreaker question, but I just want to ask, when you saw that I wrote, you got the communication that I think you guys should leave your mics unmuted, because I'll have to ask you to unmute every time. But when you saw the question that I was going to ask romantic questions, I want to know what went through your mind. Fred and Marina, this one I'm going to direct discussion to everybody.
What went through my mind? I was just thinking of, I was trying to remember all the instances of the romantic and just have them. somewhere at the back of my head so I can spill them out. And it's funny you asked that question, but because it's our anniversary in a couple of days and her birthday as well. So I've been trying to be romantic. It's I'm sure we'll have lots of this stuff to talk about, but sometimes you have to be really intentional because you think, yeah, well, it's my wife and I can always, do something nice, but you have to really pay attention to it. So this year, my wife was like, I'm not going to take any chances of you being romantic. Give me money.
Yes.
It's true now. Don't know what you do.
That one is money.
Wow.
And it costs a lot.
Well, I've not even started. Bass bills have started.
So, yeah, that's when you say romantic. I was just thinking about my bank account.
I do. I hope I'm going to still be married at the end of this. Nobody's rocking.
What God has put together is not ideal. That's on that. Also, Marina, how about you? What did you think? What went through you?
I kind of guessed that we're going to answer questions around what we do for romance, what we do to keep things spicy. Like, yeah, that's kind of what I thought about.
Spicy. I like that. Imazi and Tosan, what went through your mind when you saw that?
Well, I don't think I was sure what to expect. But when I heard you say romantic, I kind of already expected that. Knowing you will not skip that part of the question. So I just kept an open mind, and I don't know, maybe just like Marina said, like, what exactly do we do to keep things going, keep things sweet? That's basically what I just thought.
Okay. Imaze?
So I'll toe Fred's line. I had to try to start remembering, juggling dates in my head, and trying to bring some memories back. And I was like, man, does it mean I'm this bad with keeping things in my head? Is it a man thing, or it's, I don't know. So, but I knew you were going to touch on areas anyway. So I said, hey, let's have fun.
Yeah, and that is really cool. I think everybody needs to know that the couples have not seen any of the questions before. So I'm trying to get expo, but I wasn't very willing. But so Pius and Sonia, what did you think? What were you expecting from this show today?
When I learned about the show, I think I just had an open mind. Sonia told me it was going to be a couples event, so I had an open mind. I was ready to answer any question that you throw at us. Then on the romantic part, I didn't know what to expect. I had an open mind as well. So I was thinking more in line with what we do to get our spouse into a kind of mood, a feel-good mood. That's what we are thinking. just a feel-good mood and all that. So I think coming into this event, I had an open mind, and I think Sonia had the same as well. But I think I'll leave her to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, Sonia.
Well, I think he started having his open mind after he asked me to ask you for the question.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm just hoping that, we don't wish at the end of the event that we had the questions beforehand.
No problem.
And I hope, like Marina, I hope we're still married.
Don't worry, married is past tense. It has already happened. All right, so thank you guys once again for being here. We're just gonna jump right in. So I'm gonna ask this question first. It's like, what is and I think one person can answer for both of you, or you guys, however you choose to do it. Before we go into the romantic questions and the other categories. So, what has been your biggest lesson in marriage? What has been your biggest lesson in marriage? So this one, everybody has to answer this one. Okay. What has been your biggest lesson in marriage? I'm going to let Fred and Marina go first. And before you answer the question, I'd like to know how many years you have been married for.
Here we go.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So in 12 days, we would have been married for 9 years.
Oh.
And what would I say? Thank you. What would I say our biggest lesson has been?
Are we speaking for ourselves, or
is it one person speaking for both of us, or do we? If we don't have the same lesson,
however you guys choose to go about this, I'm not involved.
Okay, do you want me to speak for us in this one? Okay. So what would I say our biggest? We have learned that marriage is a continuous, intentional process. You cannot use what you did yesterday to hang on tomorrow. It has to be like a continuous, a constant, intentional working process. I'll use the example that comes to mind. So last year, during summer, we were very particular about how we wanted the grass in our house to look, like the front lawn, the back lawn. We went and got fertilizer, got seeds, watered it almost every day, and the grass flourished. Last year, we were very happy. But this summer, I don't know, we didn't do the kind of work that we did on the grass this year. And the difference is very obvious. It didn't matter to the grass that we did that much work last year. It didn't matter that we fertilized last year. It didn't matter that we watered last year. This year, we didn't do it and it died, right? So that for us, well, it died. Well, that for me is just like a lesson to say, what you did last year, yes, it was good for last year. It helped you flourish in the moment last year. But things are changing, people are evolving, and the lessons might not necessarily, like it's not in all cases that the effort you put in last year will pay off this year. So it's something that you have to be intentional and continuously put in work into. So
yeah, exactly, Marina. That's exactly true. And in that example you gave is perfect, because what I found out very specifically is marriage has to be intentional. I used to think, oh well, I'm in love with her and all of that stuff, but the truth is there's sometimes where I don't feel like I love you, but it's what we've done in the past, like the effort we've made to grow that relationship. So that when I don't feel like being a husband because I'm upset you did something, or when you don't feel like being a wife because you're upset I did something, it's the history we have together. And you taught me something about filling each other's tanks. I have to intentionally tell you how good you look, how I'm blessed to have you, how you're an awesome wife, an awesome
Why do you make it look like you're only saying it because that's what I want to hear?
No,
do you think
I'm
so?
I'm not saying it because so that way, when in the moment when I upset you and you don't feel like it, you have a reservoir of things that have happened in the past. So I think that's what we've learned. Very briefly, that's what we've learned so far. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I could see that you're already pouring lines. Already, time is like maybe for that. So Imaze and Tosan, how would you answer that question? What's the biggest lesson? And you can answer it individually. It's fine.
All right. So for me, I think that so far, okay. First of all, we've been married 4 years, and by March it will be 5 years.
Okay.
So the biggest lesson, I think, for me, it's an ongoing lesson though. It will be communication. So I think getting married has made me now come to see that I probably did not know how to communicate in a lot of areas. And it also helped me to see that people have different styles of communication. So while I think that I'm communicating because that's the way I have always been, to him, I'm not saying anything. And sometimes he thinks he's communicating to me in the style that he understands. But to me, he's not saying anything, or he's saying the very wrong things. Now, take for instance, this morning, I knew we were going to have this session by 12 noon, but I needed to attend like an Instagram live session by 9. I wasn't sure how long that session was going to last, but I knew it was going to be maximum of an hour. So after the session ended, I think I was talking to my mom on the phone, and then he walked into the room and said, "Oh, we have just about 1 hour, 15 minutes or thereabout to get ready." I took the message like genuinely, but then I asked him, "What are you doing?" So to me, I was asking him, "Okay, if we have this much time left, what are you doing right now? Like, what's keeping you occupied? How far have you gone? Whatever it is you have to do to get ready, what else do we have to do?" To him, I was asking, "What are you doing that you are telling me it is remaining 1 hour, so minutes left?" So in my own mind, I had communicated that all of those things I just explained. But to him, I was giving him basbos for the question that he asked me. So I've come to see that at different times, you have to know how to relate your message to the next person or to your partner in a way that he or she would understand. Then again, there's something that he always says about, your tone. Me, I've never known anything about tone before I got married. It's when I got married, I started hearing from him that, there's a tone, you used to say this thing, there's a tone, you used to say that thing. But growing up, that's how I've always talked. So one thing for me that I've come to learn, and I'm still learning, is that in marriage, communication is key. And it doesn't basically have to do with what you say, but how you say it, your body language, the time that you say it. So I've even started learning. Sometimes I see him that maybe he has done something that doesn't even make sense to me. And at that time, I feel like just going hard to say, what is this? But maybe I would say, thank God for God. I have now learned to say, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this thing now. Maybe I should and say it later. By then, I would have maybe had a rethink, come to understand, okay, maybe there was a reason. So for me, that communication thing is like the biggest lesson that I've learned, and I'm still learning.
Awesome. Thank you. Mother,
Yeah,
just in the lessons behind.
So yeah, she's spoken very well, that communication aspect. But for me, I think on my own end, what I have learned and still learning is sacrifice, right? And putting my attention on her fully. So because, I think this pandemic period, the lockdown period has taught me a lot, in the sense that, I had to be home with my son during that period, and she was working. And, with all that, I mean, she would, after finishing work and all that, she would still want my attention, but I feel like, I'm attending to him, I'm attending to this, I'm trying to read up something. So my attention can be thrown in different directions, right? But she's still saying, look, I want your attention. Can you just shut down everything and focus on me? So I think that's, like I said, it's a lesson that I have learned to some extent, and I know I still have a long way to go. That sacrifice, that putting down everything and saying, okay, this time is for you and you alone, nothing else. Even if my kid, I think somewhere in my mind, sometimes I give myself excuses why I'm not doing that, legitimate reasons at that. you know, and I'm like, can't you see it's because of this, that? But the truth is, if I say she's the love of my life and she's important to me, then I should be able to, you know, put aside reasons, because you would always make time for that which is important to you. You would always make time for that which is important. So yeah, that's mine.
Awesome. I give you permission to quarantine yourselves for the next 14 days. All right, so to Pius and Sonia.
There you go.
For me, I think the biggest lesson for me in marriage is I think it was Mother said, communication, the willingness to talk about anything, because I discovered most times we have, especially between Sonia and I, we do have a lot of assumptions. Maybe when something is up or when something happened, we just have the thought in our mind that this is what is going on. She has her own assumptions. But over time, over the years, we've been married for 7 years. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, initially during the early stages of marriage, it was really a problem. We had issues with communication because I assume she should know what I want or what kind of things I like, and I assume that she also has those assumptions of me as well. So one day we just decided, let's always talk about every and anything that we're concerned about. And since we made that decision to communicate about the finances or something going through our mind or our kids or about anything, we just shut everything out and we talk about it, and we always come up with a solution. So over the years, that communication aspect has been what has really worked for us. And most times when we talk about issues, we discover that some of the assumptions that we had about the situation are not really what it is. They are far from it. So we are able to resolve a lot of the situations that we come across. Yeah, and secondly, it's patience. I'm not usually a patient person. Before I got into marriage, my attention span is usually very short. So once I'm disinterested in something or I'm fed up with something, I just move on. I don't waste my time brooding over anything. Moving on in the sense that either I've had 1 or 2 relationships before we got married. Either I cut off relationship, I just move on, or if it's situations that I'm going through, I just turn the other way. But after getting married, I just discovered that won't work in marriage.
We die here.
So I had to learn. I had to make the deliberate effort. I had to be intentional, to be patient, and to always resolve issues, to always resolve situations, to look for the best route out, instead of just walking away. And so we also reached that conclusion as well, to address situations head on. So I've developed a lot of patience, and our personality is quite different. She's the very outgoing type, and I'm more of the conservative, easygoing type. So we tend to clash 1 or 2 times because of our different personality. But I've learned to be patient, and we've learned to communicate and address any issue that we might be having. Yeah, and that is the biggest lesson for me over 7 years in marriage.
Awesome. Sonia,
Well,
different.
Well, just one. Well, there are many lessons.
No, it's the
Marriage,
biggest.
and I feel there are many lessons, and I feel there are many phases with its own lessons. But I'll just speak to the first one that came to my mind. Was I think my biggest lesson is that you don't know how much you can take or how much you can tolerate, or how much you don't know your capacity to love somebody, until you are, married. That's for me, my biggest lesson is I didn't even know I had this much capacity, whether it's to communicate or to make sacrifices or to, I didn't know I had. So my biggest lesson is that there's so much we find ourselves, or there's so much we can do when you find yourself in that blood covenant, that commitment. There's so much you suddenly find yourself forgiving when you're supposed to ex waka, you suddenly find yourself being more tolerant, and then yes, growing all these wonderful fruits of the spirit. Yeah, I think my biggest lesson is, that ability, the capability to,
love and tolerate. So you're saying that marriage is a grooming ground for the fruit of the spirit.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right,
And it comes in different ways at different phases of life.
life.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're gonna jump straight up into the questions. And I'm gonna stay with you guys, Pius and Sonia. So we're going to start with the romantic questions, and like I said, you guys will pick one from 1 to 6, and both of you will have to answer those questions to yourselves. So let's go.
Number 4.
Number 4. So my screen is shared and you can see it. What is the most romantic memory of our relationship so far? What is the most, or let's say, what was the most romantic memory of our relationship so far? What was the most romantic memory?
What's the most romantic? Can I say it again? Sorry.
What has been the most romantic memory? Yes, of your marriage so far, our relationship.
Well, I think we talked about this recently. We talked about this just a few days ago, funny enough. For me, it's the most romantic would be our honeymoon. There was something we did on our honeymoon that we even talked about 3 days ago that we were like, wow. I was like, that's my favorite though. I don't know about him. Maybe he would answer. That's my most romantic memory.
It's not the kind of thing to be shared, eh?
Oh no, yes. Oh no, it was dinner on a boat cruise, and yeah, so it was filled with so many activities, and I just keep. Anytime I remember it, I'm like, wow, that was the bestest.
I'm sure Pius would have done it again if not of the lockdown. So please. Pius, do you have is it the same memory or you have something different?
Well, there have been instances of romantic memories apart from the honeymoon, but those are just on an ongoing basis as couples. We do have those moments, but in terms of having the most romantic memory, I think right now what comes to mind is I think the honeymoon and yeah, that is
that's fine.
The honeymoon.
And the honeymoon.
Yeah, the rest are just on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, those moments.
Yeah, those moments where you just
Okay. All right. Thank you. You guys have done so well. So Imaze and Tosan, it's your turn to pick. Of course, you know that he has taken 4 already. So okay,
The truth is that this question just shows that we know they try since.
No. You're going to pick a different question. It's not the same question.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see.
But thank God you have already casted yourself, but it's
okay. Okay, so I'm picking from what to what?
From 1 to 6, but they have picked 4 already.
Okay, so let's say 5.
5, okay. 5 coming up. What activities do you love to do with me most? What
With you, guess.
Not me now. Oh God. This question is for you and Imaze. So
Okay.
yeah, what activities? So you're going to answer to yourselves. The other couples, they can answer to themselves, but it's Imaze and Tosan that we want to answer this question.
Okay. So activities. Well, I think I just like to spend time. It doesn't really matter what we are doing. So like he was talking about the lesson that he has learned about giving attention. So for me, I think I like when we are not okay. I like spontaneity. I don't like all these pre-planned kind of things. You now come and sit down. I don't like serious things. So sometimes between both of us, I'm like the one that is like, for lack of a better word, on like the unserious kind of thing. So I like fun. So I like when we are spending time playing games. We are spending time watching a movie, just doing something that helps you to help us to have fun away from the seriousness of life and the work, or talking about family, talking about serious stuff. I just like when we are into kind of fun activities. It doesn't matter what kind of activity it is, but as long as it's fun, it's something that brings laughter, jokes. Sometimes he says I like to tease him a lot. Those are the kind of things that I enjoy. So if I have an avenue where I can tease him the whole day, that kind of thing gives me joy, gives me laughter, happiness. So those kind of activities, anything that is fun, whether going out, whether staying indoors, I don't mind, as long as it's a fun thing. Yeah, those kind of activities, what I like.
Thank you. So Imaze, what activities? Mm-hmm.
So she says she's the more unserious type. I don't know if it's now serious activity that I would list, but for me, I like talking with her. I like picking her brain on different issues. It could be, well, maybe yes, on serious or more serious issues, that we can talk about. It could be family. It could be something we saw on TV, it could be somebody, it could be scriptures, whatever, just being able to, because I've come to discover that she's a very intelligent person, but sometimes she gets to hold back her comments on matters. So I like to have conversations with her. I learn a lot from her too, and that's something. So for outdoor activities, I'm still learning that. I'm still in that. On that learning curve, but like she said, things that would make us laugh together, watch a comedy skits, just do something that would keep us laughing and having fun. So I think that's that for me.
Yeah, the answer can be different, right? Like the things that she loves to do with you, most, and the things that you love to do with her. Like you, I'm noticing that you're saying more serious, picking her brain, and she's saying more fun stuff. So it's part of the learning. So that's great. Thank you for your honest and real responses. Okay, so I'm going to go to Fred and Marina. So you're going to pick 4 and 5 I'm taking. You still have 1, 2, 3, 6.
2. Let's try 2.
2. Okay, so when did you first fall in love with me and why? When did you first fall in love with me and
Shall we
why?
go first?
Was it the same for us? I like it.
I let Marina go first.
Yeah, both of you are going to ask. Both of you are asking yourselves this question.
Yeah.
So you are answering.
So go first, babe.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did I fall in love with you? I think it was that conversation, right? Okay, so when we started dating, we used to I used to live in Garki in Abuja, and he used to live somewhere in Zone 4. Who says Zone 4? And we would Zone 6. And Zone 6. Okay. There will be times where after work, we would take walks. He would come visit me in Garki, and we would take long walks like around Garki. But there was this particular day, we had really, really, I would say a very deep conversation. That's why we started asking questions. And for the first time in a while, I didn't feel the need to mask my fear. I didn't feel the need to, I'm trying to think of the right word. I was very vulnerable on that conversation, right? I was very vulnerable in conversation. Both of us were vulnerable on a level that we had not been before, like conversation on the road, like side of the road. I think it was after that conversation, when I got back home, I'm like, yeah, something's going on. Like I really love this man. Like I'd never been in that position where I felt no fear, no guilt, no shame, nothing. Like I was almost like bare, naked, and there was no fear, there was no shame. And I would say that's what it was for me. That conversation was like the game changer.
Yeah, exactly.
That was amazing. I feel like I didn't know that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that was amazing. You know, I'm learning that people can actually date then fall in love later.
We really liked each other from the beginning, but we grew in it as we were going. But that for me was like a very significant change for me.
Awesome.
Same thing with me. I remember those moments very well because my car got stolen about that time, so I didn't have a car. I had to hop into a taxi, and probably late at
like
night.
Every day.
Every day. And then we'll just take aimless walks on that Garki road, right? We'll just take aimless walks. We had this restaurant we used to go to. We see.
Yeah.
That would be some really cool beef or whatever it was then. So it was simple things, and for the first time in my life, my relationships, the relationship I was in, it didn't matter how tall she was, how nice looking she was, what car she drove, where she worked. It was everything but external. Everything was more of the conversations we had, the person of Marina, who she really was. Because everything back then, and I've been in many relationships, has always been.
Wow.
Well, it's true. Everything before then has always been what you have, right? And for me, I realized that I had to fit into the molds of the people I was with. I could never really be myself. But for you, it was different. It was what was inside. So that was when I knew that, you know what, it didn't matter where she worked or what she drove or how she looked like, whatever. It was actually who she was. So from that point on, and then I met her mom, and her family, and it was like, this was it. You know, you don't know what you are missing until you find it. So as soon as that happened, of course, it was still felt nervous, you know, asking her to marry me, but I was more sure than not. So
awesome. Thank you for your honest answers. Fred, I'm really enjoying your voice and your lyrics. There's no way.
You see what I fell for, right? You have been whining me since.
There's no way. Awesome. So, okay, so we're going to go into matters arising, right? When it comes to the matters arising, we'll look at issues or maybe we'll say challenges that arise in marriage. And I would like any of the couples to jump on it. I'm not going to direct it to anybody, but anybody that just feels comfortable answering these questions can jump on it. So we're going to look at finance, I want to know what your perspectives are. What do you think about shared finances? What do you think about shared finances? What do you think? Is it important that we share finances, and in the marriage, everybody knows what everybody earns? What do you guys think? Feel free to jump on.
Okay, so let me start, and I'm starting so that before they say what is in my head, let me quickly say what I have in my head out. Okay, so for me, I'll say for us, we learned early that shared or joint finances is very important. And I would say that in the short time that we have been married, we have come to see the benefits, even though we haven't, because even though the level at which we do it now still has room for improvement, but the fact that we even have that joint finances at all has helped us to see how it helps. Now, one thing is joint or shared finances helps you to plan as a couple. It helps you to grow, not just grow in your plans and prospects for life and things you want to do in your home and stuff, but you even get to grow together, because it helps you to be able to help the other person. Because one thing that we have come to see for us is that both of us do not have the same financial strengths. We do not have the same financial values. So what I value as far as money and finances is concerned are different from the things that he values and matters to him as money is concerned. But we have come to see that having joint finances, and I'm not talking about joint accounts, I'm talking about joint finances, shared finances. We know what each person earns. We know what each person is saving. We know what each person is doing as far as money is concerned. It has really helped us to, it takes away that pressure. That pressure that comes with marriage on its own already has pressure, whether you want to admit it or not, it already has pressure. So when you now have that extra of shared finances or joint finances, it takes away that pressure of having unrealistic goals, or having unrealistic plans, or having some form of trust issues, if I would use that word. But the thing that I've also come to see is that we have different backgrounds, and we have different, I think I should say the word strengths. So for me, there are things that I've seen, maybe from my home growing up, that as far as money is concerned, it kind of scares me and makes me want to act in a certain way. But the fact that I know that I am open to this person as far as my earnings and money is concerned, it helps me to even deal with those my fears, like past fears, past issues that I've had with money. Okay, so maybe I should just explain properly. So growing up, my dad was basically the one working. He had a stable job where you get your salary monthly. My mom was doing businesses here and there. So basically, we grew up leaning to, oh, daddy has to do this. Oh, daddy pays for this. daddy does that and all of that stuff. And along the line, my dad got to have issues with his job. And then he looked at my mom now had to start struggling to meet up with some of those things. So that has informed my perception as far as money is concerned, that I don't want to lean on someone else and have to ask him, oh, I want to do this. Oh, we need to do this in the house. Come and bring money and all of that. So in that regard, it almost wanted to make me not want to share. I wanted to protect my own. Like, I work for my money, so why can't I keep my money myself and do what I want to do with my money? Because up until 2 days ago, I was still talking about the fact that I don't know what it feels like to say, oh, I want to fix my hair, oh, come and give me money. Oh, I want to buy cream, oh. I've never had that kind of experience. I just want to be independent. So, but by the time we got married, we agreed that even if we're not going to have a joint account, we should have joint finances. And I think that has helped me to, because married or not, this struggle that I was having is something I needed to deal with, right? So having to now have a partner that I'm open to as far as finances is concerned, apart from the benefit for the marriage, it has its own personal benefit for me. So I'm learning to not have those fears as far as money is concerned, learning to trust, learning to be open. So I think that overall, joint finances really, really helps the quality of relationship that you get to have with your spouse.
Awesome. Any other person wants to jump on that? Anybody want to contribute? Okay, please go ahead. Sonia.
I think for us, we've always I also had that mentality of wanting to have my own money, because I also didn't know how to ever ask for anything. So even in my, I never had a relationship even before marriage where I would ask the person to give me money or anything like that. So I had that mentality, so I have to always have my money. And because I was working, or rather I've always been working, I would always, of course, have my money. But the thing is, we agreed to know, I know what he earns, he knows what I earn. And so when the scale even tilted, I wasn't now working after our first baby, of course, I had to now be 100%. But I used to enjoy having my own money a lot. But my money was more and he also had this, I think he also had this mindset of the man will provide. So he never really used to care that I was earning money. He would still give me, I was earning a lot of money, but he would still give me money for the house. I was using my own money as Mother Christmas. Yeah. So I was, just doing, maybe someone says, oh, they need something. That's what I was doing with money. And so he was still providing. But I think at the point, he even told me when I was having issues with my job then in Lagos, he said, are you working out of pride or you're working because you want to work? Because I was having serious issues, and it was obvious that the best decision would be to leave the job because of my daughter. At the time, she was sickly, but I was still pushing my head and no one to be working. I was afraid of not having my own money. And he said, if you're working out of, pride, it's not necessary, because your money doesn't even do anything in this house, And so I had to now think about it and really choose my daughter over having my money. And then so moving forward, we started, of course, when it's the woman, not as the woman, let me see for myself, when it's me that doesn't have money, it's easy to say, let's do joint. Let's do joint finances. But let me cut off the whole story short. I think what I'm lucky for in my marriage with him is that he's very open about it. If I tell him, send me your statement, do this, and I've harassed him like that in the past before, what are you using your money for? He would just send it to me, he doesn't care, to say, oh no, you can't ask me, I'm the man or something. And he has done a lot better with our money thing in the past 7 years than myself, because I still I still tell him things, like even if we were doing our money, I still tell him, but I want some money aside that I don't need to take permission from you to spend, and he still allows it. So I think what really works for anyone, but we do our money.
Bias.
We do our money.
Bias, I think I need to come and sow a seed into your life because that mentality is needed. Awesome.
Just to add to what Sonia had said, I think joint finances has worked for us over the years. And like she mentioned, when she asks, most times she asks me, let me see your account, or let's see the money that we've saved for this while, let's see what we've done with it, or whether it's still there, whether it's still intact. I never really, I think at the early stages of marriage, I just believe in spending money. Sometimes when she asks me, what do you do with your money? Let me see your statement. I just come up with this defense, this pride or something. Okay, I earn the money, I can spend it anyhow I want it. But over time, I think I got to learn that asking for us to have joint finances and to be accountable to each other was for us to have better, to plan our finances better. And that has really worked for us over the years. Now, if I want to spend anything, I know that she's going to look at my account. So that consciousness is there, and she's going to question me on what you did with this money. What did you buy this debit on your account? What was it for? So I'm usually very conscious now before I spend money just on impulse. And most times I discover that when we talk about what we want to spend money for, I find I have better perspective on for example, I want to maybe buy some stocks and all that. And she's asking me about, have you done your research well? Do you know about the companies you want to invest in and all that? So I find myself trying to explain to her the research that I've done on these companies. And you find when you do so, sometimes I just say to myself, I have a rethink. Maybe I pull back on the investment, or I choose a different course of action as a result of that discussion about what we plan to do with the money and the investments I want to make. So over time, joint finances have really worked for us. And we've been able to save a lot over the years as a result of that as well. And there's absolute trust with regards to money. Sometimes she sends money to my account. Maybe she gets paid, she just sends everything to my account. I look at it, and it's because of the trust we built over the years. I know that she knows.
In the beginning, it was not so.
It was not so my sister.
So joint finances for us all the way. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. So does anybody have a different perspective they want to add, or good?
Sorry, Sonia, you're saying?
Oh no, I was reading a comment. Linda said our money is actually my money. Let me mute.
Here we go. Okay. So for us, we do a blend of both. We have the place where we go to that we both, first of all, there's openness. There's a financial openness between both of us. We both know what we earn. We know what our expenses are. We know what's happening with each other's finances per time, right? We have places where we both go joint. But I think there's also the importance of having the place where you can step back and spend my own. Honestly, I think it's important for couples to have everything, joint, open, but there should also be that place where, say for instance, I'm going out with my friends, like I'm going to hang out with my friends. I don't want to be doing that from a joint account. I don't want to be doing that from an investment account or a savings account. That's not, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that a large percentage of our income goes to what we do together. Shared responsibility, shared expenses, investments and things like that. But we have that place. I have a percentage of my income that I am at liberty to spend as I like. As I like does not also mean I will not be accountable. but I don't have to. I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining this right.
Yeah.
Like last year, my husband turned 40, right? And under his nose, I was able to plan like a full-blown party in our backyard. Like he went out that morning, came back 2 hours later, and we had 40 people in the backyard, fully catered. Everything was there. I would not have been able to do that if it was a joint account. By the time I made the first payment, I would have been, excuse me, something's going on, you know? So I could do that because I had some kind of control over a certain percentage of my income. So that's what I think for us, that's what we do. We have the places where we go, where expenses, everything is joint. And then he also has that place. I encourage that for him to have that place where you're like, you know what, sometimes when you just want to be a little boy and spend on yourself, do it. Sometimes go out, go and have fun with your friends. You should be able to have money that you control there, just whatever you want to do. So for us, that's how we were joint, we're in agreement, but there's also that place where we can just be ourselves, enjoy what I like, that I don't necessarily have to explain or get permission from you to do, sort of. So that's what we do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And you know, the thing is, and that has been very helpful because we're different people when it comes to finances. I'm the kind of person that would hold back on maybe stuff that I want. Maybe I don't find the kind of shirt I like, and then I finally find it and I buy 10 pairs of shoes or something. And she's like, why did you do that? Right? I'm like, I just saw my size. It's hard to find my shoe size or something. So, and you know, there are also cases where maybe someone from maybe a family member or something, or a friend just hits you up like, hey man, I need money. And boom, I'll just send it. And I realized that we're going through the accounts like, honey, you moved 200 something. What did you do with that? I'm like, I can't remember. And it's not because I went and bought 10 pairs of shoes. I probably just gave it to somebody. And I realized that it was having a strain on accountability. Not that I was buying stuff crazy and bringing back different electronics every weekend. But it was like, honey, well, why would you do that? And you can't even remember what you used that money for. So it almost showed like I didn't respect her opinion or something. So I had to put a check to say, look, guy, you're the kind of person that would give out money like that. And it shouldn't be. It's conveying the wrong message, even if you're doing it out of good intentions. So we took it a step further. We said, well, I started working first, she started later, so we had separate accounts, but we're bringing all the monies together at some point. You have your own, we call it good time account, where you can buy whatever you want. No one gives you grief over it. And we moved it a step further to say, let us get life insurance, because stuff will happen, right? Right, it will. Stuff will happen. And we have to be intentional and say, I'll be your contingency, you will be mine. It's not the issue of you're going to bring a brother somewhere or a sister somewhere. So that's how we plan our finance. It's not always been great, because there are some times where like I can't remember what I did with money. She is better at details. I'm completely not. When it comes to details and facts, I don't know anything like that. So I always had to leverage on her ability to organize, right, and have a budget. In fact, we just did the budget for August yesterday or a couple of days ago. So for us, that's how it's been. I'm the one that just spends money like anyhow, but she's the one who is more conservative. So yeah, I listen to her when it comes to finances, because I've had my fingers burnt in the past.
Awesome. Thank you guys. You guys have been so real and honest with your answers. I'm going to ask you, so we're going to go to get to know your sweetheart category. When we do the get to know your sweetheart category and romantic questions, I'd like us to spend like an average of 1 minute, right? Then on the matters arising, we can spend a bit more time. Your answers are amazing and I'm enjoying you, but we have a lot to go through, and I would love us to touch all the areas. So please, you will help me with that. So, Fred and Marina, please, you're going to pick a question from 1 to 6. Now, this is the get to know sweetheart. So, please pick a question from 1 to 6.
5.
Okay. 5 is good.
Okay. So, let's do 5.
Why my palms sweaty?
Oh, no, this one gets to know now. There's no.
Should be the one right.
All right. So this is the question. What is something I do that always makes you laugh? What is something I do that always makes you laugh?
So who's asking now? Like, Fred is going to tell me something.
Yeah.
Okay, what is something you do that always makes me laugh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh. You have those very weird stories that you bring from childhood. My husband is a very dramatic storyteller. like Nollywood has nothing on him. So there are stories about things that happened from childhood that when we start talking, there are times where I laugh and cry and my eyes hurt, my ears hurt. So it's just the way he tells stories, like the dramatic storytelling. Sometimes I exaggerate some things, but that's what I think I like about that one. You get me laughing any day, anytime with that.
By the way, I learned that from my father. He was a lecturer for 40 plus years, so you have to bring in all the scenery, the smell of the environment, what was cooking at the time. Anyways,
for Fred, what does she do that makes you laugh?
Yeah. For my wife, I still can't understand how my wife can have a full conversation by herself in front of a mirror. Sometimes I go into our bedroom and I'm like, who is in the room with you? I can't understand it. It's been on for, I don't know, as long as we've been married. And you know, the thing that gets me too is sometimes she's on the phone. Sometimes she's talking to herself or she's talking on the phone, and then she starts talking to me. I'm like, sorry, are you talking to me? So I can't, it gets me every time. I'm not used to it. Sorry, babes, I can't be used to it. But I find it very interesting because when I hear her talk to herself, she's recapping her day. And that's the thing one of the things I like about my wife, I love about her. She can recap the whole day and the responses she gave to people or the actions she made concerning something. And because I remember an instance where she said something to me and it was really hurtful. And I overheard her talking about how her day went and what she said to me. And later that evening, she came to apologize. And that's something I absolutely don't do. I can't even remember what happened the last 6 hours or last 2 hours. But she does that. So I don't stop her. It's fun to listen to her. Sometimes people are like, oh, that's what she was thinking. So yeah, it's something that gets to me. Yeah.
Awesome. Marina, is that a success woman power strategy so that we can all
Well, life of a content creator. Sometimes it's scripts I'm practicing, to be fair.
Awesome. All right. So, Imaze and Tosan, what are you picking? Okay, sorry.
So we'll pick number 1.
Number 1 coming up. What is one of our traditions? What is one of our traditions that you especially like? What is one of your traditions? Of course, I'm not talking of your Biniman tradition. I mean, like, what tradition or what activity that you guys do regularly? that you especially like?
So when you say traditions, more explicit. So I'm trying to understand.
Traditions now, like things that we do between ourselves on
Okay.
a regular.
Exactly.
Okay. I think she had mentioned something about her being able to tease a lot, right? So
This one is your own. This is your own answer. She's going to give her own answer. So don't answer for both of you. Just answer.
yes. So it's something that I love a lot.
When she teases you.
Yeah, it's interesting because I love it and I hate it at the same time. like because sometimes it gets to an extreme, and I'm like, come on, as you show some soft side of yourself. I believe our friends can testify to that.
I feel jealous. I want somebody that likes that I tease the person. I would love that.
So yeah, that's something that I really like that she does. I mean, she knows how to take the fun out of some serious incidences and just present it in a way that's funny, that's exciting. I've tried that so many times. I don't know, I'm like, what part of my brain do I need to activate to be able to do that? But I guess it's different personalities, different way. I mean, especially from the way she grew up, with her siblings. She's so close to them, and they laugh, they fight. They can laugh again in the next 2 seconds and stuff like that. So I think that's something. Somebody said I don't have talent.
They say you don't know how to tease. That's why.
So yeah, that's.
Susan.
So I don't have to think past it. I know the tradition that I like. There's something that we started, I think is about maybe roughly 2 years now. We just take a day out of the weekend to have like a movie night almost every week.
Wow.
And no matter how tired I am, from Monday to night, and we usually do it on Fridays. Movie nights, I find all the strength. I just like that time where you sit together. I think I'm kind of person that I'll say I love love. So I just want to stay. My son has gone to sleep, and we just stay together, watch a movie, gist in between the movie. Sometimes we order takeouts during that time. I love that, and I always push to ensure that always happens. Then another thing that we try to do is to have some Saturdays we used to do games day. So we are either playing physical games or we are playing
spiritual games.
It's not spiritual. Everything is physical. And when I mean physical, I mean like face to face. At other times, we play games like maybe I would just say, "Oh, download this game," and he downloads it too, and we're playing ourselves on the phone. So those two traditions are things that I really, really, really enjoy, and I always look forward to it.
Awesome.
See,
Okay. Pius and Sonia.
So what's to pick a number, right?
Yes, please.
Has 3 been taken? 3?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So yes. Navigating. Let's go there. How would you describe me in 3 words? Get to know your sweetheart. How would you describe me in 3 words? So both of you should just start.
How would you describe me in 3 words?
No, you go first.
No, you go. How would you describe me in 3 words? Hey, you're taking forever to describe me.
I was waiting for you to
After
go.
almost 16 years.
I was waiting for you to go.
Okay, for me, how would I describe him in 3 words? I would say calm, quiet. I know quiet is probably a synonym of calm, but patient.
All those words are under one group.
Have you? Unless maybe you give me categories.
No worries, good. No, it's fine. It's fine. Pi, it's your turn.
Describe Sonia in 3 words. I think the first one would be perfect choice.
That's 2 words.
Or
Perfect.
prayer answered.
That's 2 words again.
So like different words, like just like so.
Yeah,
you said
you can put an hyphen on prayer answered.
prayer answered.
Yeah, so no, let me explain what I meant. I think Sonia was a perfect choice, and I think it's divine. It's not just something I say out of my senses. I think she was made for me as my wife, so that's why I said she's prayer answered. She's exceptional in terms of what she do. We complement each other. She compliments me a lot. And thirdly, she's
Even if it's only those 2, you have said it.
To me, you said 4.
Prayer answered, exceptional. Wow.
yeah. So since you said I've answered everything, so that's it.
You have blown high away already.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Amazing. So we're going to go to matters arising. I like this matters arising. All right. So let's look at what we have. All right. So I'm going to ask us a question now. This time we're going to look at I'm going to touch the area of extended family. Extended family. How involved do you think extended family should be in a marriage? How long is it? You can just pick any of these questions I'm going to say, right? How long is too long for an in-law to stay over? Should there be boundaries? And in the extreme, if you find out that your parents, somebody's parents doesn't like the other person, sometimes that happens. How would you handle it? How do you suggest that that should handle? What are you willing to do about it? Who wants to? It's free for people to jump in. Extended family. What are the boundaries? What are the limits to their involvement? That's one. Then on the extreme, where you see someone's parents does not like your spouse, what do you do? Or someone's parents want to come and wants to come to the house and you're not okay with it, and your spouse is not okay. What do we do in terms of these situations? Who wants to do?
I can start.
All right.
The first part that talks about how long should they stay around? Is that what the first part said?
There's that.
Well, I think these are 2 people from 2 different upbringings and backgrounds that are trying to understand themselves. I think extended families should be, they should be. I don't know how to say the boundary should be, but I feel we should agree on how often or how long these people stick around, because again, we're two different people that are trying to figure ourselves out. And so bringing other people into that mix, for example, what my husband can forgive me for, his sibling might see me doing it and feel like, no, that's very, very, you understand what I mean? So I think having extended family around just complicates things even more and puts the person who is related to that person in a tough spot, especially when maybe they don't, like you mentioned, if they don't like the person or something. Okay, maybe I should answer that differently. But yeah, I think extended family you cannot overdo it. No matter how lovey-dovey it is, even, I feel extended family should have a limit to how much they're involved or how long they stay. Because again, the other person might not express that they feel this is too much. But I think spouses should understand the personality of the other person enough to be able to say, okay, even if I want my dad to stay for a year, my husband might not really like another man in this space so much. I think that's where compromise should come in. Talking about not liking the other person, I think it's up to, I might be wrong, but this is my personal opinion. I think it will now be up to me to try to find a way. If, for example, my mom doesn't like my husband, which in fact she loves him more than me, but I think it will now be my responsibility to try to fix that. I think he would try, but some things I might tell him to do, to not do, because I understand her better, would help him, scale that bridge a little easier. And then it's also up to the little things that I do too. I feel like people are the ones who make their spouses see their families the way they do. If I badmouth my siblings or, like some kind of things that if I talk anyhow about my parents, maybe talk them down or something, it might be easy for my spouse to also disregard them or disrespect them. So I feel spouses have a role to play in either helping the other person respect your family or your in-laws, or helping them get a better ground. If the in-law doesn't initially like them, I feel if it's me and he doesn't like them or they don't like him, I feel it's actually my responsibility to help him scale that, and it's by the things I tell them and the way I make them know that it's important to me that they get along with him. That's my thinking.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody want to add anything to that? Okay. Amaze.
Okay. So I'll speak from the angle of, your parent not liking, my spouse. So this is specifically for my mom now. So before we got married, when I told her that, this is the person I want to get married to, told her where she was from, she's a Shekiri. There was that wall put up from my mother because her brother had, gotten married to someone from that place, and there had been some challenges, for a long while. So it seemed like that thing was already in her mind and in her siblings also. So that was a huge challenge for me. Like, before she even knew her, she already started forming impressions about how she would be, because she felt, hey, I've already seen an example of that, and people from this place are like this. And what didn't I do? Talked, argued. I had to restrain myself many times not to be rude. But, I said, you can't judge somebody, based on the experience maybe your brother had. I know that it will be difficult. And especially, it was especially difficult when she would now see her make some kind of mistake similar to something she had said. So it will almost be like it's confirming what I'm saying. But I'm like, no, you can't do that. She's a different person. This is the person I love. This person I'm interested in. This person I want to get married to. So that challenge, was there. And again, my mom is that kind of person who, her own mother was a very strong woman. Would go to the farm, gave birth to some of her siblings, even on the way to the farm, strong woman. So she took that from her mom, and she's always, whenever she sees my wife, maybe not show some strength in some area, she would be like, hey, when I was your age, that a woman should be this way. And I'm like, I understand that, you're giving this advice to help her and everything, but respect and know her for who she is and appreciate her. I did a lot of that talking until a point where she realized that, okay, really, I need to know her for who she is. I need to understand that she's had experiences of her own, coming from her family. So I can't judge her based on, whatever my family had experienced. So yeah, that's something that, it's still ongoing. It's still something that I am constantly working on, but largely, she's come to accept her, and so yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody want to still add to this, or we should move on? Okay, Marina.
Okay, thank you, iDeal. I'm just going to piggyback on what Imaza just said about that getting married into a family where you're not from the same place. So my husband is from Cross River. I'm from Delta State, right? He's fourth of 4 boys, and every other boy had married from Cross River State, right? So I was now the daughter-in-law that was coming from outside of Cross River State. So it was really, the tension was not, I don't like you because of state, but it was now a clash of, this is how we have always known to do things in Cross River State. How is Delta State now going to fit into this picture? And for me, because both my parents are Deltans, my whole life, I have thought, when it comes to things like cooking, when it comes to things like family traditions, all the things I knew before that time was Delta State. I grew up in Benin, so there was the touch of, it was Edo Delta. There was nothing, Cross River, nothing, like no relationship. So that responsibility was now on Fred. It was his job to manage how his family related with me. It was his job to manage how his family accepted me. It was now on him to present me in a way that would douse their fears. It was also on me to not go out of my way to be what I'm not because I'm trying to impress them, but be myself in a way that communicates to them that I am open enough to learn. I'm open enough to teach, because it's not just me dropping everything I know and getting into this marriage and forgetting who I am. There's also going to be the element of me, the Edo Delta me, that is not going to change. And it's okay for all of us to be fine with that. So the responsibility was on him to the largest extent to manage how his family accepted me. And it got a lot better. Like, the tension wasn't there for a long time. It wasn't there for a long time at all. With time, when they now got to know me away from him, like, I intentionally tried to build relationships with his family members, not through him. I never only talk to his mom when he's talking to her. I am able to call directly. I'm able to call his parents. I'm able to call his brothers directly. So I was able to build a relationship with them and they were able to now build impressions of me that were not through the eyes of their son or their brother, right? That's one step. And then to talk about the part of extended family living with people, we have had my sister live with us for like a duration of time in Abuja. She came to Abuja to serve, and I was already living there. Okay, so it didn't make any sense for us to now go and rent a place for her when she could live with us. That was largely influenced by the relationship that already existed between my family and my husband before that happened. Okay, I had done my job of presenting my husband to my family in the way that communicates to them that some things are never going to be accepted. Like, no matter what is happening, even if you see both of us fighting, it is not in your place to disrespect my husband. Your place is your place. You understand where your boundary is. And then when it comes to matters that relate to both of us, there's only so much. You can only come a certain extent, right? That work was already done. So when it was time for my sister to come live with us, it was not a problem at all, like at all. It was not, I even tried to bring it up from the angle of, let me judge where his head is. Like, okay, babe, I'm thinking we should maybe look for a place for her to stay. And my husband was like, wait, what are you talking about? For who to stay where? Like, she's living here and that's it. Like, so it was not even a topic that we could debate on. The relationship between them made that decision easy. The foundation had been laid. So a lot of things is going to depend on what's already happening before it comes to the point where you have to make that decision. Because life is going to happen, really. Sometimes under ideal circumstances, we want it to just be both of us, our family, just us in our bubble. But life is really going to happen. What if you are the one who loses your house and you have to move in with your in-laws? You never know. So a lot of it is going to depend on what is the relationship you're building today, so that if something happens tomorrow, if a drastic change has to be made, it's not going to be awkward for everybody. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very briefly, I'll just like to talk about from my aspect. I remember when I told my parents I was this is who I wanted to marry. You know how parents have, no one likes to admit it, but parents in those days had favorite kids, right? Like they had kids that they'll let things pass. Fun enough, I wasn't any of them. Neither was I my dad's or my mother's or whatever. So when I came home to tell them that I was getting married, I told them straight up. I've always been the very independent kind of person. I told them straight up, this is who I'm married. This is who I'm happy with. This is what's going to happen. I had parents who were not very, very, very traditional per se. They still had their ways, but I kind of like put it out there to say this is what I want, and this is who I want to marry. But I thank God I had parents who were, more of the open type per se. So that was just an advantage for me. I also, there no offense to anyone, but this thing where they say, our wife. And no offense to anybody, I don't like it. She's not your wife, she is my wife. So don't think that you can come to my house and you expect my wife to cook for you. It does not happen. She is my wife. So don't think that any traditions that the wives do, my wife must do because she's our wife. No, it's not. So I had to draw that line with my brothers because I have brothers from other mothers and stuff like that. So I had to make it clear not all of us lived together in the same place, so values were different. And now I've seen the benefits of those things, because some things that some cousins just chip in there, maybe in the group chat, the wives have to do this. They are all our wives. That one doesn't fly with me. So those are some of the things I had to clearly, very respectfully, because I'm the last from my mom's side, very respectfully say, this one doesn't work like that. She's my wife, and anything you tell me, just so that she's going to hear. So if you don't want to tell me, it's fine. But if you tell me, she's going to know about it. So Those are some of the things. It was not easy then, but I had to get it. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like conflicts, but I had to put it out there as quickly as possible.
Awesome. I like that. In fact, round of applause. No longer our wife. Those our wife people, please. Marina, thank you so much. The only one that crossed into Cross River. I hail you.
Right?
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna go to the category of romantic question. I like the way we are doing it. You can see we'll enter tension area, then we'll run away, then we'll come back. So Imaze and Tosan, they're going to pick a question now from the romantic category.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're trying to pick.
4.
No, we have taken 4, has been taken already.
Oh, what's left?
What's left is 6 is left.
Okay.
I think 1 is left. No, 2 is left as well.
Okay, 6.
6. Okay. I like this question we're about to see now. Sorry, I'm trying to navigate this thing. Okay, so 6. What do you think is my most attractive personality trait? What do you think is my most attractive personality trait? I want you guys to ask yourself a question.
What do you think is my most attractive personality trait?
Maybe we should expand it. Maybe it doesn't have to be personality, any trait at all. That is the most
Physical trait, right?
I know you're fine, but you don't have to push the conversations into that.
I would say that he is very caring. I think that's one thing that attracted me. So when we met, one thing that's I think that trait is something that attracted me because you know how they say this thing of when you are with a guy, you want to see how he treats his mother and how he treats his sisters and all of that. And his mother is someone that is really caring. I see him go out of his way for people up to the extent that while we were still dating and maybe in the first 1 to 2 years of our marriage, I would see people want to take advantage of that his caring nature, because when he sees that there is a need for someone, he wants to make an effort to meet that need. He wants to find out, how can I help? What is it that I can do for you to make it better? So that's one personality trait that I know about him that I do really like, although sometimes I get to feel like you show that care outside more than you show it inside the household. But I think his caring personality is strong, and that is really attractive to me because I can always draw from it.
Also,
I can always draw from the fact that I know that like on the foundational level, he has a heart that cares. So even if I would not be appealing to him at a particular time as his wife for him to care for me, because he already has that foundation in his heart, at least the basic, the most minute thing that he can do is to care for me. So I think that's something that I really find attractive.
That's so touching. I feel like tears even almost come into my eyes. Like, Imaze, that's very special. That is very special. So Imaze, answer the question.
Okay, so for her, it'll be, she's someone who is very homely. I just try to think about if I married somebody with the same personality traits as myself. My goodness. I'll be living in a dungeon with the cobwebs and skeletons there. I mean, she's homely. She knows how to create, excitement. I see her with her siblings and how they create fun out of, almost anything. Sometimes it can be annoying though, but still. And she does that with, when we're together. That homeliness, that let's do something, let's play a game, let's go out, let's do something, and I'm learning from that. That is a beautiful trait that I really admire, and I hope to be better in that aspect. So yeah.
Directly, I'm spice.
Yeah, you are the spice.
And the spice. Okay. Imagine the salt of the earth. You are the spice. Okay, so Pius and Sonia, we have 1 and 3 left in this session. So which do you choose?
For romantic, wait, we chose romantic.
Yeah, we chose number 4.
Okay, you want us to go again?
Yes, one the second round.
Okay, 1. Was it 1 she took just now?
So 1. Okay. So 1 is coming up right about now. Just sorry, hold on for 1 minute. All right, so this question is coming up. What do you remember about the first time we met, and when was it? What do you remember about the first time we met, and when was it?
I think the first time we met was 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2008. I just started work then, and I was staying in Port Harcourt. Came to Lagos for a training, and she just finished university. I think she was 7 then, and I was staying with her cousin in Lagos then. So when I saw her, from the first time I met her, I just liked her then. And the thing I saw about her, I saw her like as someone that is a go-getter. She was like a no-nonsense person. She knew what she wanted from our interaction. She knew what she wanted from life. She knew what she wanted to do, and she was godly, which was an attractive trait for me. Those were the things I saw then. I know I asked her out then, but she said no. She turned me down.
Wow.
So that first time, but after all said and done, 7 years later, we got married, and here we are. And I think those first traits that I saw then are still true till today. She's still the go-getter person I met the first time. She's still the godly person I met, and she's still the sweetest person in the whole world.
Wow. Pius, you just use every opportunity you get to.
That is
Awesome.
Some romantic moments.
Honestly, maybe you just use this show to score the next memory for me.
So Sonia, your turn.
The first time, what I remember about the first time we met, right?
We talked about it several times. So
We talked about it again 2 days ago. Yeah. Okay. I remember I just felt like, this guy is too quiet. Like, God, how can someone be so quiet? But I liked the fact that he was calm, but I felt like he was just too quiet. Not like I was interested in having a conversation with him, but I wasn't used to. Again, in my family, we're very, ginger. So it was strange to have him in our space, because my cousins, as in their family and my family, were like, were the same. And so it was really strange to have him in our space, and he was just sitting down and just watching us like a movie, and I felt like this guy is too quiet. But I liked the fact that I didn't have to, because I'm also not someone who is very attracted to noisy people, even if I'm very noisy. But I don't find that as the first thing I like about people, like when they're too everywhere. Like, I might now even deny my noisiness to allow them shine. Anyway, that's the first thing I like. But the trait. What was the second part of the question? The trait?
No. I think it's basically
Yeah.
just what you remember.
Yeah, that was the first thing I remember.
Basically, you're not willing to share your noisiness with anyone. That's what I don't get.
No, well, I think it's
No, not my
complicated.
All right, awesome. So that means that the last question will go to Fred and Marina. Okay, and that is question 3. What do I do that shows you that I love you? So you guys are going to ask that question. What do I do that shows you that I love you?
Why don't you go first this time?
What do I do that shows you?
What do I do that tells you that I love you?
No, wait, sorry. What do you do that shows me that you love me?
Mm-hmm.
For me, when Marina tells me, honey, you did a good job, it means the world to me, because as I'm sure we, as men on this platform, we realize the battles we have to fight every day at work. Just being a husband, being a father, and the pressure that mounts every day in trying to leave a good example for your kids. I just like when she takes the time out to say, honey, you know what? I know you had a stressful day today, but thank you for what you do. In the moment, in being macho, it feels like, no, the compliments don't matter to a man. No, I'm fine with that. No. If that gets it, I don't get it. But believe me, when the only person who thinks that you're the best thing in the world tells you, honey, you know what? Even though work sucked today, even though you think that you made a bad decision moving, I think you're still the best thing that happened to me. I think that positive affirmation, when she finds, and she knows when to do it. She knows when we're having a bad day or I'm having a bad week or whatever. She just chips it in. It means everything to me. And when you do that constantly, babes, it's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was when I buy you coffee from Tim Hortons, but anyway.
That's all.
Okay, so what do you do that tells me that you love me? So I have a lot on my plate right now. Like, I have a lot that's going on. I have a full-time job. We have 2 young children who are, my son is almost 8 and my daughter is 6. I'm a YouTube content creator, and just recently I'm enrolled to go back to school. So my hands are very full. In one thing that he has been doing lately that just, without saying it, is how much he takes off my plate before I even ask. There are times where I'm up till, like yesterday, I was up till like 1 a.m. trying to edit a video that needs to go out at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And this morning I was up early because there are things that I have to do that I need to put in place so that this could happen. There are times where I sleep that late and I'm waking up later than I should. We're both working from home and we have children who have to get ready and take to daycare just so we can have that space to breathe. Sometimes before I wake up, both my children he has bathed both of them and is downstairs fixing breakfast for them before I'm scrambling and getting out of bed like I'm late, right? It's just the amount of things that he takes from my plate and makes my life easy. Like, I feel like I'm able to do all the things that I'm doing because he knows when to take those cues and just step up and say, baby, you know what, don't worry about that. I'll take care of it. Or sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to eat for dinner. It's like, you know what, relax. I'm going to fix dinner today. Raise your legs up. Don't bother. It's just small, those intentional, before I even get to ask, acts of service that just make my life easy and help me stay sane is what I would say you do that communicates to me that.
And the truth is, it's not. Now I do it like
second nature. Yeah.
It was not always like that.
True
to
that.
be honest, I don't want to seem like I'm a Superman.
Yes, especially for the upcoming ones.
Yeah.
It took time. It really took.
It was.
Truthfully.
At first, one thing my wife told me, said, back in Nigeria, we had help to do that. Her sister was there. All I did was just work, and watch Arsenal lose. But but one thing she said to me is, honey, if you don't raise your kids, there'll be a time when you wish you could. And the memories that you guys would have that I may not even know about, and you guys would share those memories 20 years down the line. And absolutely, conversations I have with raising my kids is awesome. And then it was now the part of breakfast and food like that. I'm like, I have to do this one again. It was complete. But now I enjoy it. And funny enough, my son was saying that, oh, mommy, why are you cooking? Dad is the one who always cooks. And that is what I want my child or my son to go in with in marriage. Like, it's not, the wife doesn't have to be the one. I know that's another angle, but those are just the things that I'm trying to leave behind by creating those memories. So it's fun now, but sometimes it's
there was a lot of fighting in the beginning, but I'm glad we're here now.
So I'm not macho or anything, nothing like that.
You're macho now, just take it.
All right, take it.
Awesome. So, wow, you guys are making me feel. In fact, people have turned this environment an environment of love and mushiness, but it's all good. So we have a few topics left, but I want us to just choose one that you guys will be. I want you guys to pick one last matter arising. So we have parenting, we have communication, and we have sex. So which of them? Because we can only take one more matter arising, and maybe take Know Your Sweetheart. Let me see. On the chat room, which would you prefer as the matter arising we should take next?
We'll say sex.
Somebody say we reject sex in Jesus' name. There's sex, there's parenting, and there's communication.
Everybody wants to say sex. Only
Let's
one
talk
parenting.
about sex, baby.
Parenting and communication has been voted twice. Let's see, parenting 3. Because parenting takes the win.
Come on, next.
Parenting.
There's X inside your name, so what's the price? There's X. All right, so let's jump on the sex question.
That's what you want.
Don't mind me for asking that question. I know what all of you want. So let's just matters arising. All right, so I wanted to try and get everybody's, carry everybody along, because even myself, the question is somehow, but so thank God I'm not on the hot seat. So 2 questions basically, and everybody's free. If you are comfortable, like I've always said, right? How regular do you think sex should be in a marriage, right? And number 2, what do you think about as a couple, exploring sexual experiences? In other words, apart from the regular role playing, sexual fantasies, and all of that. I'll finish.
We're picking one from there.
All right, so over to you guys.
Yeah.
So 2 questions there. Anyone you can jump on it, or anyone you feel like comfortable.
The first question.
How will you ask yourself?
Oh, yeah. Susan, start.
Okay. So I've always heard these things people are talking about marriage and sex, especially when you hear these conversations amongst people that are about to get married. You hear this thing of sex has to be very regular. every day, self, if possible, not lie. It can never be every day. Never. I'm saying. Then I used to now say, by the time I come, I used to say that this sex is not food though. And
but it's good now.
I beg, it's not food.
I see Yawa right there.
It's not food. And the truth is that body no be firewood. So again, when you have two people that are actively busy, whether they are working or they have businesses, or the moment you even have kids, it affects the regularity of the sex. So if before marriage, or maybe when you just got married, you're able to do 3 times a day. For instance, let me take when we got married, we had a very short honeymoon. That honeymoon, you see my ginger. Hey, it's like we went to a place where we were having a resort, and so they had activities. We go out, come back. For me, it was like every time we come back into the room, as long as the bed is there, what are we doing? It's just us. Like, what are we here for? So my ginger was out of the roof, and for him, he was just very calm. So I used to feel like, what's going on here? This is not why we got married. This thing should be regular. Let's have sex every time that we can. But now, the script has now flipped. I now find out that I'm not very, I think I would say when it comes to sex, it's not like I don't want it. But I'm so lazy to even, initiate. Which is so annoying to imagine. Like, are you a piece of wood? Why do you just have to be there waiting for somebody to come to you every time? You don't know that sometimes you still move. So for us, that again, it did affect our sex life, because only one person cannot be going every time to go and be saying, I want to. If you say you are just there waiting to be on the receiving end. So for me, I feel that the regularity of sex is depending on the people involved and how active they are. So if you have two people that are working 9 to 5 every day, maybe some have to do 2 jobs and are working weekends, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to have sex every day. For some people, they can skip a week, skip 2 weeks, and they are still fine. So for me, I don't basically focus on the regularity of sex. I focus more on the intimacy between the two people involved.
Rich.
So we might not be sexually involved every other week or every other day, but are we intimate? Are we able to give hugs in between? Are we able to give kisses in between? Are we able to throw love words at each other in between, as opposed to the physical act of sex or penetration or whatever it is? How often do you get to sit down and cuddle with yourself? So that's what really matters to me, because I feel that it's all of those small things that you do to be intimate that actually helps you to build and grow that sex life. Because sometimes we focus so much on the sex and forget to be intimate, and that's how the sex life gets ruined and the sex life actually dies out. But for me, I feel that when we fuel the intimacy enough, it helps the sex to stay as hot, as spicy, as fresh, and as juicy as you want it. And I think the second question was about something
Explorers, Internet Explorers.
So
I say Internet Explorers.
For that part, it is, I know how in this time that we are, especially for Christians, we don't want to exploit things because we feel that almost everything is a sin. I've even seen this even happen among married couples, that like, should we do this? I've heard of people that do not even want to try different sexual positions because they are not sure if it is godly or it is sinful.
Yeah.
Right? So
Because our position is Christ alone.
So just I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was talking with him that I've heard of people talking about using sex toys, this and that and all of that. What do you think, as if a couple decide that they want to spice up their sex life and they want to introduce sex toys? How does that come in? What is the place of that, even as a Christian or as a believer? So for me, as long as, and this is not specific to a particular, to anybody's, what's the right word now to use? This is not me looking at anyone's perspective or trying to say, oh, what will my pastor? I'm not looking at anybody now. This is between me and my spouse and how we have allowed God to take his place in our home. Now, within that context, I am very open to exploring to ensure that our sex life stays on track. Now, this does not mean that I'm not going to, at all costs, want to do whatever it is. But I feel that as much as lies between us, as much as we can, we should do everything that we can do to spice up our sex life, explore, read up, like research.
Awesome.
Because sometimes some things that we avoid are things that we don't even know about. You haven't read up on it, you don't know what it's about, you just feel that this one is wrong, this one is ungodly, and we are not going to do this one, we are not going to try this one. And it really helps, it really now makes people suffer as far as sex is concerned, because I get to see that sex is one vital aspect of marriage, and we will not lose track of it, because if you fail in that part and you are doing well in the other part, somehow the marriage would have some sort of issues. So I think that it's exploring in sex with your partner is very important and very key.
Awesome. I like that. So
Well, let me just quickly.
missionary position is not the only position for Christians.
Not at all. There are so many types.
So let me be quick so that I don't take so much time. So for the first thing, I feel it should be regular. I agree with what she said, that
What is regular?
sex should be regular as four times a week.
You know, this question anyway, anytime a partner is talking about sex, please take note to be looking at the partner while the other one is
He's really shouting, my man.
I feel what it should be is usually not what is, right?
Yeah.
So what I would like is not what is. And somehow I think for me, it almost drove me into a space of, maybe we are busy. So I just give that excuse in my head. Oh, we're busy, we'll do it later, or my son is there and all that, even though I want it. And I know that, keeping those feelings, I mean, in there, it's not good. You need to express it towards, your spouse. Sex toys, I'm open to it if she is. Full stop.
Okay, I think the latter part of that conversation, people can have it after now. Do any of the other couples want to add to this topic?
Well, it should be as regular as both parties can agree that it should be, because I don't think, you just saw it reflected in Tosan and Imanze. Two people might not be of the same, and that's honestly how she described theirs is really what's going on here. And with kids and everything, it's not easy. I've also experienced the issue with someone asked a question about low libido and all that as a result of like family planning. So we cannot now be agreeing that sex should be 4 times a day when I don't feel like it at all, right? So Well, I'll just say it should be as regular as they can agree. Like if I'm having a challenge, but it's communication too. If I don't tell him, oh, this is what's going on with me, if I'm pretending about it, which is what I was doing at first. When I was getting married, okay, I got this advice from my darling Reverend Lori she organized the bridal shower for me, and she told me men like it when you come onto them and all that. I wasn't sexually active before marriage, so when we got into marriage and I was now overdoing, like wanting to make him know that I know I can do this thing, and I overdid it. So he was now used to us doing it so frequently that by the time I got pregnant and I had kids, and he didn't understand why, he would be telling me, oh, Sonia of those days. Meanwhile, it wasn't like I was approaching him every time because I wanted this, because someone told me that that's what men like, and I thought I could keep up that pace. But man, reality had dawned on me. So I had to now tell him, it was someone who advised me that, and so in the beginning, because I was following that, thinking of, he has to be super frequent, and that's what he will like, and that's how he will know that he's a man and all that. I also had created this impression to him, which was not real. And then now that I was having this struggle with the whole feeling like doing it, it was now a question in his head, like, is there something I'm doing wrong and all that? And yeah, it causes awkwardness when you don't talk about it. Sorry, the chats are distracting me there. But yeah, it causes awkward. I think the important thing for a couple to do is to talk about it. Okay, why don't you want it anymore? Like, why don't you want that awful anymore? What has changed, or what do you want to change? I think we should, couples should communicate a lot. So by the time I explained to him that, this thing, and again, I was feeling bad initially. Okay, the first few weeks of marriage, I'll be like, he doesn't want to do it. Like, is it me? Maybe it's because I'm not experienced. Like, what's going on? But again, communication helped. That he was able to tell me, no, it's not like I want us to do it every time. We're just coming out of the whirlwind of a wedding, and I don't feel like that's the first thing we should be doing. But me, I was anxious to get it done, right? To prove to him that I'm interested. How do we explore it? Communication again. I tell him what I want, he tells me what he wants, and we try to make it happen. Someone asked me a question about this sex toys thing. Like maybe 2 years ago, she said that she wants to put in this sex toy thing to their whole, to spice up their marriage, but that it's more to her, to pleasure herself. And I don't know, somehow the question I asked her was, that she doesn't know why her husband is making such a big deal about it. So again, it comes to agreement, like, do you both want it? I said, okay, how would you feel if your husband says he wants a sex dolly to be doing something with? Do you understand? While you are there, So I think it's husband and wife has to agree, okay, what exactly do we want from this thing? And so that's when she sat back and was like, oh, that's true. Because she was talking about it more, the sense that she wants to use it. Not really like she wants to share it. You get, she wants to use it for pleasure. So yeah, I think couples should be able to agree. And just talk.
Awesome. Thank you for your honest conversations and your real talk. Really, I believe in communication, agreement, and this is not a judgment zone, right? So, Marina, you're going to say something.
I'm not going to try to flog what everybody else has already said, because that pretty much is like a constant in a lot of relationships. But I think we underrate a whole lot what age and childbirth does to couples in a marriage relationship, especially when it comes to sex. There's a whole lot that childbirth does to a woman that will never really be able to fully explain it to a spouse why something was like this, and then one day you just wake up and you're irritated by the entire idea. I don't think a lot of us who have had children fully recover from that thing, what childbirth does to a woman's libido, right? I just don't. Some people have it harder than others. For some people it's the reverse, but it comes back to communication. You should be able to communicate to say, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's happening, without feeling like you're going to be judged, without feeling like you're selfish. If I'm not interested in this thing anymore, especially if the childbirth or labor or delivery was traumatic, it's not a snapback for a woman. It's not a, because my husband wants it, then suddenly I'm in the mood. And I think it goes back to the orientation that we have about sex even before we get married. As an African woman who was raised in Nigeria, there's too much secrecy that surrounds the topic of sex before we get married. You're not even allowed to like anything. You cannot talk about preferences. You cannot talk about my own needs. We enter the marriage with the idea of your job there is to please your husband. So you don't even know what you like as a woman. There are a lot of people who don't even, we don't really sit down to understand our own bodies. If you don't understand what you like, how is another person going to pleasure you? But those are not conversations that we can have as godly single women. How can you be talking about this? You're carnal. But everybody needs conversations around that. You need to know, what do I like? Marriage at the end of the day is service. Two people one to another, not one person there to serve the Lord and Master, right? Sex is not for the man alone. The woman is entitled to pleasure from sex in a marriage relationship. And it's okay for you to demand what you like. It's okay for you to ask. It took me, what's this, year 9? It is maybe like last year, I was finally able to come to the point where I could admit some things in the area of sex to my husband. We don't talk about people who have suffered some kind of abuse. We underrate the effect of things like that. Traumatic experiences from childhood, sexual abuse that people must have dealt with. We enter into the marriage and pretend that that part is going to fix itself. We had a similar case. I had sexual abuse in my history. I had to sit down to say, guy, I hate this idea. I hate this whole act. To me, it's just something somebody takes from you. That was the impression of sex that I had going into marriage. How then am I going to now dress up and role play and come on to him to go and do something that I can't stand? Do you understand what I mean? So it took a lot of talking. At some point, there was therapy, there was counseling for us to undo this thing that has happened. So basically what I'm trying to say is there should be more conversations, more honest and open conversations before you get married. It's not when you enter, you now want to come and figure out what should we. Nobody's saying explore before you marry, but talk about it. If there's trauma, if there's something that stands in the way of you fully exploring your sexual self, then it's best for you to talk about it before you get married. Right? So that's something I wish we did a lot more, like talk about these things. I wish I was in a place where I felt I was enabled enough, the environment was enabling enough for me to have those conversations. The marriage counseling we did, when it came to the area of sex, it was almost like you're at his beck and call. When he calls, you answer. Your job is to serve him. Your job is to please him. There was no, at some point I'm like, guy, what's in it for me in this marriage? What's going on, sir? What of me? You know? But there was an extent to which I could push or drive that conversation because it was not godly, sort of. It was un-Nigerian, un-African for a woman to dare to ask for sexual fulfillment in marriage. So those things affected us in the first couple of years. And then when my son was born, it was a traumatic childbirth experience for me. The second one was there were issues too, but just putting all of this together, it's until last year I could fully now sit down and say, babe, I can actually now connect these dots. I can see where this started from and why it just got worse from there. So now we're more open. I feel more connected to him because I don't feel like the burden is there anymore. I don't feel a need to pretend and say I like what I don't like because I didn't think I had the option of saying, no, I don't like that, don't do that, So it's talking, it's communication, coming to the point where you're comfortable enough, where you feel comfortable enough to have those conversations. And the issue of sex toys, honestly, I don't think that there's anything wrong with exploring. As far as both of you are in agreement, it's not one person seeking to pleasure themselves another way. It's both of you looking for something to bring into your bed to help both of you. As far as it's not another person, that's the one I think the Bible frowns at. It can't be a third person because you're trying to explore and things like that. But as far as both of you are in agreement and it is two of you in your relationship, I don't think there's anything wrong with exploring sex toys or things like that. So
Awesome. Well, you guys have blown us away today. I think in all that you have said, I mean, I've learned that communication is so key. You know, we don't even see a lot of people, you know, do more like knowing and communication before marriage, and now we are hearing that even in marriage, you know, 7 years, 9 years, there's still a lot of communication. The marriage is even all the topics and questions today, we can't even take everything, but there's so lots to know. There's so lot to talk about. There's so much intimacy and you know, just delving into knowing, and it's an ongoing process. Like someone said that at the beginning, that you just keep knowing and you keep knowing and you keep you know, giving attention to that journey of getting to know each other better. So thank you so much for today. We have run out of time, but it was an amazing time, and I'm so grateful to our wonderful couples, Imaze and Tosan, Pius and Sonia, Fred and Marina. Thank you for coming and being a part of Real Talk with iDeal and Friends. This is the first edition of Meet the Couples. We're here every second Saturday and fourth Saturdays of the month. Also, if you just jumped in because you saw the Zoom link, please fill the main link so that you can register and get all the information. Real Talk with iDeal, and our YouTube channel, we have amazing episodes there. You want to watch, you want to subscribe and put on notifications. So thank you. This was a blast. I am so excited. Thank you guys for joining us today. Hey there, thank you for making it to this point of the video. You have watched it. I hope it was good. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and let's get your feedback. Was it real? Was it too ideal? Whatever, we would like to hear from you, and you know, get with your feedback, get your comments. If you haven't filled the link or subscribed to this channel, please do that. And when you fill the link, we'll give you information how you can jump on the live show, make your contributions. We want to learn from you, we want to hear from you. Thank you for being here. Keep coming back. We would have some exciting topics for you, trust me. Have a wonderful time. See you again.